I've said it many times. Sooner or later, people pleasers will be led either to burnout or to resentment, and then to burnout. If we're not aware of our people-pleasing habits and how this can lead to emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion, sooner or later we will suffer with burnout. Hi, my name is Vassia Saranopoulos, and I'm a psychologist. I'm here in order to help you protect your mental health. Let's start with understanding what is the connection between people-pleasing and burnout. And in between, I'm going to also add perfectionism, because people pleasing and perfectionism also align many times. What we're going to discuss today is 4 ways that people pleasing leads to burnout, and also 4 ways that we can actually uh, stop this connection, or at least control, manage how we're using our energy. We're still going to be kind people. I said it to many times to people pleasers. Don't worry, you will never become this impolite, rude person. You will still be the kind pleaser, carer, helpful person. Absolutely. But at the same time, what you will do differently is protect your own mental health, protect your own energy, right? 4 ways that people pleasing leads to burnout. First one, remember we said that people pleasing also is happening at the same time with perfectionism. There's an overlap between these two. People pleasing people are afraid of making mistakes. Perfectionists also, right? And they're afraid of making mistakes. Why? Specifically because they're afraid of disappointing others. This is where the people pleasing lies. They're afraid of disappointing others. And what happens if we disappoint others? In a people pleaser's mind, maybe they don't like us as much as they used to like us, or maybe they don't want to work with us, they don't want to live with us, they don't want to hang out with us. Whatever is the fearful assumption that we are making in case we make a mistake. And that's why we don't want to make a mistake. We don't want to embarrass ourselves. We don't want to face the consequences of making a mistake, which means disappointing others with all the other negative consequences. And of course, don't get me wrong, nobody likes to disappoint others. Nobody feels like, I'm fine with disappointing people. I even enjoy it. Not at all. But again, the threshold, where is the normal need for likeness or the normal need to be approved by others, is crossed already miles away by people pleasers. They're way beyond this normal threshold. They desperately need to not disappoint others and to be approved by them. So, as you can understand, when we don't want to disappoint others, and we're always mindful of our actions, our words, and how we are behaving around people, and whether we are meeting their needs, sooner or later we're going to be exhausted. That leads to chronic anxiety for some people, that we're always tiptoeing around other people. And one thing that I would like to mention here is that in the key, what we said before about crossing this threshold of normal need for likeness, this is also the point where we depend on other people's opinion. We become addicted on other people liking us. This is where we are constantly in this state of fear and tension. Chronic stress and chronic anxiety, and eventually burnout, is highly related with people pleasing. One way. Second way is self neglect. When we are busy pleasing others and caring for others, inevitably we're going to forget taking care of our needs. What happens with people pleasing is that we don't think that our needs are that important. What happens is that we become, or we feel responsible for other people's needs. We feel responsible for other people's feelings. That's quite different from caring from other people's needs and feelings. It's one thing to care, and it's another thing to feel responsible for other people's needs and feelings. And this is where the overstretching ourselves happens. This is where we sacrifice our own time, we sacrifice our own energy. We are always looking for other people's feelings so that we can meet whatever need they have, but we completely forget what is our own level of energy, how much we can give to other people. That's why we call it self neglect. You can also find it as self abandonment. This is what we do when we people please to an extensive degree. That's what we're talking about here. We self neglect, we abandon our own selves and needs. Another way that people pleasing is connected with a burnout and, of course, perfectionism is imposter syndrome. How is that connected, you might ask? Well, we're not going to focus on the part of imposter syndrome where you feel like a fraud. We're going to focus on the other part of imposter syndrome where you feel you don't deserve success. And that's the part of the people pleasing and the connection with burnout. We don't feel that we deserve success, break, rest, or anything that a normal person deserves. We think that we need to try really hard. We think that we haven't proven to other people that we deserve them, and that's why we need to put more effort. Again, perfectionism shows up here. You are not enough. You haven't done enough. The not enough concept is so loud in our head, and that's why we're trying even more and more, aka burnout. And the fourth reason why people pleasing leads to burnout is the quality of our interpersonal relationships. When we are constantly seeking for approval, we are creating imbalanced relationships. We are creating relationships where not only we are overwhelmed by giving, but other people are also feeling overwhelmed from our need to please them. They also feel uncomfortable in providing honest feedback. They are also feeling uncomfortable in setting boundaries because we also don't have boundaries. So you see that this seeking of approval is so intense that both parts of a relationship can feel eventually overwhelmed. And then that leads into a loop of no boundaries, more energy, more giving, less feedback from the other side. They are avoiding us when we are too pressuring there. And then we take this avoidance as rejection and then we try even more. Burnout. Again, we're leading ourselves to the same result, especially in the fourth way that I just explained, not only burnout, but also disconnection, isolation, and the imbalanced relationship that we said before. So, how can we change that? Let's talk about four ways that we can change this people pleasing. And again, I'm going to emphasize that it's not changing. You will not become a rude and unkind person. You are still going to be kind, polite, and friendly, and caring and helpful. However, with the reminder that you are also important, that your needs are also important. So the first thing that we need to practice is practice self-compassion. This is where we remind ourselves that we have a specific amount of energy, and once we give that all away, we're going to be feeling lonely, drained, not feeling good with ourselves, feeling that we are really not enough for others. And this is where we need the self-compassion. This is where we need to show to ourselves the same kindness, the same understanding that we show to anybody else, the same behavior and helping hand that we would extend to a friend. And we need that because when you allow yourself this kind of talk, the self-compassionate talk, you also allow, consequently, yourself to take a rest. You also allow yourself to set some healthy boundaries and protect yourself and your relationships. And that leads me to the second way that we can protect ourselves, boundaries. This is where, first and foremost, we understand what are going to be the breaks that we're going to take. What are going to be the slots in our schedule that we are going to reserve only for ourselves? Because we can never serve anybody else if we are exhausted. We can never be good carers if we are completely drained. And that leads me to the third point of how we can protect ourselves and our mental health and prevent a burnout is develop assertiveness. This is where we practice saying no. I know that for a people pleaser, saying no comes together with guilt. I know. I wouldn't expect anything less from you. I know. But this is where we practice saying no, staying with the guilt, but without acting out on that, without trying to not feel guilty. Yes, you're going to feel guilty in the beginning, of course, but we're saying no and reminding ourselves that we are not bad people. We are actually doing it for the growth and the preservation of the relationship, for the protection of the relationship. People will like us even more when we are authentic, when we're also human. So that's the reminder. We need to say to ourselves many, many times so that we can believe it. And the fourth thing that I would like to say here is I know that deciding to be less of a people pleaser is easier said than done. I know that planning your day in a different way when you're not overextending yourself is easier said than done. I know that make this human planning is nice for a day or two, but then you will fall back into the same patterns. So find some accountability buddies. Find somebody that you trust and tell them exactly what's happening with you. Like, I am falling into this trap over and over again. I say that I'm going to protect my energy, but then the moment that somebody says, "Can you do that for me? Can you help me here? Can you help me there?" I immediately say yes. Can I please share that with you? And can you please help me to hold this boundary and not break it again and again? And if this doesn't help, or if you want extra help, you can always reach out to a professional, a coach, a therapist, so that they can help you in order to not to change the behavior. The behavior will be the last stage, but mainly to change the mindset that sustains this behavior, the not good enough, the feeling guilty, the feeling that you're not useful to other people, the seeking for external approval from other people. All this is the mindset. And sometimes this mindset stems from previous past emotionally overwhelming and traumatic experiences or relationships. So maybe we need to do some healing first before we step into the level of assertiveness that we want. I hope that this was useful. Let me know your own experience. Let me know, what do you feel when you are people pleasing? Let me know how your energy drains. Let me know some activities that you do or things that you said that you're going to stop them, but still you're doing them again and again. Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you're already way past that point that you can change something today and have a different result in a week or so, and you are really struggling with burnout, have a look at my program that will start in fall, Burnout Recovery Program. And we're going to do some serious work there, and including boundaries and including all these self-sabotaging habits. So let me know if you need extra help, because I'm here. Thank you very much for being here. Remember self-compassion, remember boundaries, remember seeking for support. These are the steps that you need to take now in order to change that habit. Until then, take good care of yourself.